Hey guys, so in this video you and I are going to talk about the truth about exotic programming tools. So let's get into it. Now, this video is going out to all of the wide-eyed engineers out there. It doesn't matter if you're a senior or if you're a junior on this one, because we all do this. I do, and you are. I swear you are. Unless you are the most... If you are only in it for the money and you're only into programming because you enjoy the coding and you're... I'm not going to say too much because I have met really skilled programmers who don't do this, and I truly salute you, because this is something that, although I see some people who are not doing this more because they don't care enough, or rather, I like to see the fire in people's eyes. I absolutely love... My favorite type of person to work with are the sort of people that, if I look in their eyes, I see a light, I see a passion, I see a hunger to improve, to move forward, to innovate, to ship quality stuff. Those are the people I get excited about. Unfortunately, those are also the sort of people who fall prey to the exotic programming problem, or the exotic programming tools problem. So what is that? What's the problem with exotic programming tools? Well, the problem with exotic things is that they are sexy. Sexy code or sexy techniques, advanced things of that nature that bring a lot of complexity to the table are most commonly added by people who, as I like to call it, they over-engineer things, and they do so in a manner which is actually very detrimental to the project. Now let me walk you through this. One of the things that I see, which I absolutely, and I think that this is a test, it actually is a testament. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but it is a testament to your personal level of professionalism, how senior you are. Because I have met programmers who are extremely skilled at what they do, but unfortunately for us programmers, we are usually just building this kind of same sort of applications over and over. For the most time, you are not going to have to use something like GraphQL. You're not going to have to use event sourcing. You don't have to use... There's so many different awesome cool things that, like different patterns, for example. That's the most common one. I see people throwing provider patterns or using really sophisticated solutions in, say, functional programming, or monads. There's tons of really advanced, sexy techniques out there that makes you get excited. If you care about this stuff, you get excited. I mean, I get excited. I get goosebumps when I feel as if this technique that I just saw on YouTube or a blog post, I really want to use that. I really want to. And it used to be the case that I did so. When I was a more junior, I had a more junior profile a few years ago, I would use it relentlessly, because I thought, or rather I convinced myself that this was the way to go, right? And it's only nowadays where the bitterness sets in. And it's not really bitterness. I don't think that's fair either to say. I would say that it's more experience and professionalism. That's what I like to think that it is. Because nowadays when I see a really fancy technique or something that somebody else is showing me, my first thought is, all right, this could be useful in these scenarios. So I'll put this in my memory bank, I'll put it away, and I will try to remember this technique the next time I have that specific problem. Unfortunately, it's very rare that those problems comes around. And that's why I call this little video, or I refer to these tools as exotic programming tools, or exotic techniques. Call it whatever. Exotic is the key word in all of this. Because exotic is not something that you do every day. It's something that comes around maybe once or twice ever. And you as a passionate developer, you need to fight that urge to over-engineer software, because the biggest mistake you can make is to use an exotic cool technique for the sake of using an exotic cool technique. It's actually very funny. There's a really good comic strip where the the one guy asks the other, why do you use functional programming? And he says because it makes codes better. And then he asks, why does it, I think it's something along the lines of, why does it make the code simpler, or why does it make the code better? And then he simply answers by saying, well, tail recursion is its own reward. I mean, it's hilarious. Like, tail recursion is its own reward. If you don't know what tail recursion is, go out and get excited about it as the rest of us functional nerds. But although the comic is funny, it actually illustrates a really good point. The software developer in this comic is just adding that complexity because it makes him feel better. He wants it. There's no reason for it. There's no logical reason. It's an emotional thing. And we should not have something like that in the code. It's not good. I have seen people monads are, and they're pretty hot still. I see them being misused all the time by more, and I actually use them as a benchmark. If I see you misuse an exotic programming technique, and I can really see that you don't know this. You're using it for the wrong, so you're using it, or rather, you may not even. It's not necessarily the case that it's not the right problem, but I can see that it's overkill. I don't know how to describe it, but what I can see in more senior developers, when I really know that somebody's good, I can see that they always solve the problem in proportion, or rather, the solution that they make is always in proportion to the problem. And that's why exotic programming tools are very rarely seen in the wild, because it's very rare that you face the sort of problem that is a really good, valid instance of when you use something truly powerful, something truly exotic. And that's harsh if you are passionate, because trust me, you may not feel this way today, but you will get to a point where it's just boring. And I'm sorry that if somebody may have fooled you into believing that programming is just one big rock concert where you're just always excited about going to work. But let's try to remember that you are a craftsman. And although and this is the way it goes, you start out being excited about the craft and trying to hone your skills, and at some point you will truly become a master. And when you are a master, it gets more and more tricky for you to get that fill, to get to indulge your addiction or the love that you have for your craft, and you start searching for a new high. And usually, as I said, what I see is that people get into exotic techniques or exotic programming tools as a way to fill that desire, that to get that high they need. And what I want you to take away from this video is I want you to not be that person. I was there, and I'm no longer there anymore. I'm not the most conservative person in the world. I absolutely love innovation and techniques, but I have matured. I would like to think that I've matured to the point where I'm more focused on solving the problem as opposed to the tool I use to solve the problem. And that's helped me a lot. Just think about it. Try to be more focused on fixing the problem instead of the means that you use in order to fix that problem. Because if you're more focused on the means, then you still have that problem I'm trying to get you away from. Then you're still subject to being sold a fancy technique, or you're at risk of deluding yourself into making something much more complicated than it needs to be. So try your best to get away from that, and don't over-engineer code. Have a great day.